record it, and that way those people that aren't here can listen to the recording. Thank you for showing up, and it's much better, no feedback when nobody tries to call in. And my goal today is just to talk to you a little bit about presidential citation and then lead straight into goals or no goals. Official visits, public image in particular, and past presidents that might be going to zone. So let's get right started. I'm going to pull up the presidential citation. This is the back of the presidential citation, and if you don't have it, I can email it to you. Everybody should have it, but you know how that goes. They could get misplaced. But look at the mandatory activities. Set at least 15 goals in Rotary Club Central. Now this means, like on the annual goals, one is how many Paul Harris Society, even if they put a 0 in there. And then one is how many sustaining, how much E-ray, and how much other. And in some cases, they're going to have zeros. But if they put zeros in there and save it, that would be 4. Then Polio Plus would be 1. And please, some of them are only going in and filling just that piece out. They're not going to membership. So if you would check on them and make sure that they're going in while they're in there and filling them out. But they have to have 15 goals in order to be considered for Rotary for the presidential citation. So kind of help them out now, and it doesn't have a date, so they can get them in, you know, as long as they get them in July. That would make me happy, but they can get their goals in at any time. So I'm going to close that down, and you might just go over the presidential citation with them the next time you're at their club, because just kind of being aware of the things that they need to do and look at it and say, yeah, we could probably do that, or, oh, I don't know. But please look at that and ask them to look at their goals and get those done. Let me pull up this document. I went in today, and these are the clubs that have no foundation goals, and then there's some that have no membership goals. And the membership goals are really easy. They can knock out 10 of their 15 goals in membership. Some of them are going to want to leave some blank because they really don't know what they're going to do. They don't have a good awareness of what's going on, but at least encourage them to get in there and put some of them in. Notice we've got repeats on several clubs, and notice that Cashers Valley has got little pluses beside it. She wants to work with her board at the first meeting, so I suspect that the Cashers Valley will come in. Granite Falls has got an issue. Whoever has Granite Falls, their president is leaving, and the new president has just stepped up, and RI didn't know that he was president, so he couldn't get in and edit his goals. So we've had an issue with that today, but hopefully that will resolve itself without too much. Some places that you're going to have to hold hands, you know. Jim, do you have Boone?
No, that's Roger.
Okay. Some of you are going to have to go and sit down beside some of these clubs, and like Avery and Boone. I don't know how John managed to get Murphy, but notice Murphy is not on either of these. That's really exciting. So just kind of be aware of these names. If some of them are yours, please help them get those goals in, or remind them to go back in and put the membership goals in. I'm going to put that down and look at okay. Here is something that shows up when you go to Rotary Club Central, and I don't know how long it's been there. It's relatively new. But if you can get clubs to be aware of these are public relations goals. And there's also a public relations citation. But the kicker with this one is they have to come in and put a goal, and then they're going to have to come back in, at least that's the way I understand it now, to update it, because Rotary International does not have a clue how many times that a club will update their website. So the only way I see this being updated is by coming back in. So I would suggest that they be aware of these things, and then, they might just keep a small notebook or something and then come back in June and put the final results. Public relations is something that we have not emphasized, but I'm really emphasizing it this year. I think if we want to grow our membership, we're going to have to do a little more public relations. And it's got to be more than me standing beside the president, shaking their hand and saying, this is District Governor Billy Black with John DeWitt. We need to show action. When you have a service project or a fundraiser, show action. And then underneath there, say what Rotary is. And we've talked about that, but one of the documents I emailed you today is a checklist for club presidents. So one time you might review that with your presidents. So I'm going to close this one out and look at the next piece. And I sent you 3 documents. This one is called How to Start a Project on Rotary Ideas. And you can type in ideas.rotary.org, but you can also go to rotary.org and log in and go to Take Action. And this walks you through it. This is essentially a crowd attractor. I forget what they call it, but you'll see them a lot of places. And this allows a Rotary Club to say, who would like to join us? Who can give us supplies? Who would like to come? And let's say you're doing a Rotarians Against Hunger. Who'd like to come pack meals with us? Who can donate? And you set this up, and then you put it on Facebook or Twitter or your website, and then attract the young people that might want to come. And once they have been to one of these events, then you might get their information and encourage them to be members. So this was something I saw at the convention. So just kind of be aware of that and look over it and maybe go on the website. And here are the 3rd page that I sent you were ideas of things that you can do with your clubs beside these couple pages I sent you. Talk about, you're halfway to your goal. Or I notice, like with some of the Rotary clubs, they don't give. So you might, until June. So you might say, I notice you're still at 0. It would be nice if y'all would give quarterly. But these are some of the things that you need to be doing, and schedule and plan the governor's visit. One of the things that I would like to do, and many of you are already arranging this, is a casual board meeting. Now, this is not a board meeting where the membership chair says, I have 3 prospects and we have 1 person that's going through the process. It's more of as membership chair, here's my plan for the year. I don't want to know the specifics. I won't ever remember the specifics, but I want to hear that they've got a plan, or the foundation chair has a plan. So it's just real informal. What else was on my list? Oops. Okay. So I showed you where the public image goals are, and where the foundation goals are, and membership. And when they go into foundation, I sure would like them to do a Polio Plus goal and a major donor goal. For no other reason on the major donor side, for them to think about, is there anybody in the club that I might pursue as a major donor? As a major donor in a bequest society is a long term. It's not, I'm going to go ask Billy Black to be a major donor and she's going to give me $10,000 today. It's a talk about the foundation and what it does, and then talk about it again a couple months later, and just building that relationship up. And sending that name to Carol King, and Carol King might follow up with them. Carl Davis is our major gifts officer, and he will be moving to our area. So he does some fireside chats. And Dan, I think he's going to be in the Tryon, Hendersonville area sometime in early July. So you might hear more about that. He'll be doing a little fireside chat.
All right.
Now, the last piece that I have for you is we got the invitation to go to Zone this year. And it's in the Panhandle of Florida, and it will be held in October. I believe it's October 20th. It's on DAC-DB. And last year, John DeWitt, Dan Hodges, Bill Biddle, and Tiffany. Jack, did you go?
Yes, I did.
Okay, so those people went last year. So now we're looking for 4 or 5 other Rotarians. They need to be past presidents that may want to see Rotary beyond the club. And I'm soliciting names, and I will call each of these people and see if they're interested in going. The district has pledged $500 towards this. Their admission is $375, so we'll pay that, and then we'll pay a little bit towards their hotel room. There is a condo situation there, so you could rent a condo for 2 or 3, and there are 3 separate bedrooms with 3 separate baths, and so that might be a situation. It's very reasonable. It's about $90 if you rent a 3-bedroom condo. So, you know, you might carpool down and rent a condo together and see if you can't keep the cost down. But please send me any names that you might think of past presidents. Now, the clicker with this is that we're going to ask them to then work on the district level. And you notice that all of those people that went last year are now working on the district level, whether they were before or not. Okay.
Billy,
Yes, who's that?
this is Dan.
Dan.
I have a name for you.
Okay.
My wife.
Okay. Donna.
Put her in there.
Okay. I will. Let's see who's here. So let's go down the list with any successes or challenges. And some of you have some challenges with these goals. We'll start with, I guess these are in alphabetical order. Bill Biddle, thanks for getting here after work. Do you have any
Yes.
successes or challenges?
My success is getting up each day out of bed, and my challenge is getting up each day out of bed. Sorry.
Well, it gets
actually-
worse.
Actually, yesterday, Isaac Olawabi and myself met with 7 incoming presidents for our monthly chat, if you will, and we discuss things about goals, what is expected, if anybody's having difficulties. And what I think is coming out of that is a strong bond and camaraderie of a handful of people in one geographical area. So I think that's good. I really do.
I attended one of those, and it does appear that it's growing. That's kind of exciting to watch.
Yeah.
Isaac had you on the agenda, Billy.
I'm sorry?
Isaac had you on the agenda, and we noticed you didn't show up. I don't know why it's 7 in the morning.
I saw that. I wondered if he had the same agenda as the first meeting.
No, he was going to hit you again.
Oh, well, after I do my official visits, there may be hope again, but right now it's a little crazy.
Yeah.
Dan.
Madison had the president and president.
Oh, good. Dan,
Yes.
how about you?
Oh, I would say that success-wise, I have really 3 clubs that have been, I believe, great successes this year. The Pisgah Forest Club has done very, very well. The Tryon Club has actually lost quite a few members. I think they're 8 down at the moment. However, their spirits aren't down, and they have a plan to rebuild. Some of those were move-aways and transfers, and a couple of, actually 3 of them, I believe, died this year, which was not a good thing, but that's part of the reason they're 8 down. And then the Hendersonville Four Seasons has been good in all ways, and challenge-wise is Rutherford. And Rutherford County has been a challenge since I've been working with them. They continue to be, and of course we had a president-elect set up for them and with them, and great guy that's been in the military for 30 plus years, and because of medical things that come in, his wife at the same time,
We're losing you.
which means now that the president had to go a second year, but she has agreed to do so. So there's been, they're a very small club. Those that are there are very spirited, but they just don't have a lot of people to do a lot of things. And they're usually behind on things, but again, their spirits are good.
Well, good. Well, Dan, you have with Pisgah and Hendersonville Four Seasons, two of your clubs are over $200 clubs. That means they're $200 per capita or more,
Yes,
giving to the foundation. So Dennis and I are working on an award for that because I'd like to see more of that. And we want to reward excellence in giving. But thanks for all that you're doing. And of course, Jack, what's going on?
As far as my success, it's the President Council has worked really well, and we meet 5 or 6 times a year. And one of the outcomes of that is, as Bill said, kind of just a better communication among the 6 clubs, but also a combined service activity, which is Cycle Challenge. And we had 2 socials this past year, and I think we'll continue that. The other good thing is all my clubs got their goals in on time, and that's also the bad news. I think the biggest challenge I had was I sat down with each of the 6 presidents-elect to put in the goals, and the same thing for district grants. And it's just their unfamiliarity with both WorldRead.org and DACDB and that type of thing. And the good news is it went smooth. Bad news is it'd take a lot of time to do that, but I guess it was worth it.
Well, and I've seen some people say now that they've been in and they had to get back in, and there's several, like Amber Webb from Pisgah Forest said all of a sudden she feels comfortable in DACDB and she's able to do a lot of things and find a lot of things, find some resources. So once they do get comfortable, it is a great resource for them. So, keep at it. Thank you, Jack. And Jim Clayball.
Yeah, in my case, we have 3 new presidents coming in, getting sworn in. I've attended 2 installations in the last time. To see all the input.
Okay, Jim, we're having a little trouble hearing you. Wherever your microphone is, can you get closer to it?
Okay, I'm not as close as I can get.
Okay. Well, we heard that you were attending a couple installations, and
What I was saying, Billy, is seeing 3 new presidents really getting involved, and this is part of their year, and they're all really taking it right now.
Okay, we're still having trouble hearing you, so perhaps you can give us a report by email. John.
Hey,
John DeWitt.
yes. 2 good things, I think, is that the 2 presidents who kind of filled in at the last designations, both of them are doing extremely well and have spent a lot of time getting themselves ready for the new year. I've spent quite a bit of time with both of them getting our plans together for next year. I'm installing one Sunday and also installing, giving her a Paul Harris Fellow Award at the installation as that's one of the commitments she wanted to make. So I think that's exciting. I've also been able to finally set up a social. Our problem here is it's 45 miles we're apart. So anytime one of us gets together, like I went to Valdez today, and it's 90, almost 100 miles of travel. So it's tough to get everybody together. but we've got a date set, and I think I've notified you, Billy, of
Yes.
that date. So we're pretty well finally set up on that.
Well,
So,
and as you're thinking about it over the next couple months, Gary Dills will be looking at those areas. So if you can advise and counsel him on how better to do that, he would certainly appreciate the feedback. It's a little late to do it now, but I appreciate the feedback.
yeah, it's tough for us all to get together because it's, you know, a lot of them work, so it has to be in the evening, and then they miss their own family dinners, and
Sure.
so it's not like if you have 5 clubs in, within 2 miles of each other.
That would be cool. John Yermack.
I've got 2 very good clubs, the Silver Club and the Franklin Daybreak. They're going to do very well this year. Then I have Murphy, which
They
is a
have
good
all their
hour
goals
drive.
in. Let's look on the positive side.
Well, that's because they had some help. But anyway, they're going to do what they're going to do. District-wise, they're not going to do much. Foundation-wise, they're not going to do much. But they do a lot for the local community. So they're going to be what they're going to be. Then I have Clay County. Clay County is struggling primarily because of membership. They realize that. They are working hard to, I think, correct that. But it's a challenge for them. They raise a lot of money. They tend to wear themselves out raising money and not doing some of the other community functions that they need to be doing. But they're going to be fine. They'll do okay.
Okay. Kenny.
Can you hear me?
Not real well.
I don't have a clue with the microphone yet. I'm going to try. How's that?
Okay.
So far, I've been able to visit all the clubs, of course, getting to know them well. I'm glad that I'm going to go to a installation on the 30th at and an installation on the 30th for Frank. Forward to those 2. Got to work a little bit with casters on the foundation goals and their membership goals. And Ron's been helping me there too, so I appreciate that. So far, I'm just hanging in there trying to know that kind of thing.
Well, good. I think you're learning the job.
I'm
O'Neill.
trying.
What's going on with O'Neill?
Burnsville's still a success and a challenge. They're staying alive. We've increased membership over there, so that's positive. Spruce Pine is very, still solid. They're doing quite well. They did the installation a couple of weeks ago. Calvin Hall, Spruce Pine, FY for the group, 55 years of perfect membership. Fell and hurt himself real bad. He'll be out of Bryant Center in a couple of weeks. I guess they've kept his attendance up, but 55 years is pretty good. Asheville with Donna should be good next year. She'll do a great job, and Marvin will do a good job this year. Asheville had a good fundraiser a couple of weeks ago at the Nature Center.
Okay. And Isaac.
Yes, can you hear me okay?
Yes.
I am fortunate to have the best presidents in the entire district. They have been so cooperative with us. My only challenge is Hendersonville, and I'm still working on Julie at Hendersonville. I want to also thank Dito and Bill Bedo for joining us in our president meeting on a monthly basis to share their wisdom and thoughts. I have visited all my clubs and even attended the installation for Madison, one of my clubs. And I plan to attend the rest of the installations as well.
Great, Isaac.
Black Mountain.
Yes.
I was going to say that Bill Christie is going to change things around as opposed to the previous president in Black Mountain.
Okay. The last thing I have is I am in Rotary Club Central. You see that on your screen? And
Yeah.
one of the things I want you to remember is when you log into Rotary Club Central, it knows what area you're in. And if you go to Club Group View, it should show your area up here at the top. And then you can see the trends for your clubs. And let me move this out of the way. You can view details and you can see how many clubs have put in their information. Notice that we have lots of unreported age trends, and that has to be entered in DACDB, and it will be uploaded to RI. But the problem, people don't want to ask, what is your birth year? But I think if the secretary sits down with people and asks, very quietly and privately and says, nobody's going to see this, I think most people would give you their birth year and we could get an accurate listing. And I think this is good for each club, like Tryon, to see where they fall in the age groups. Notice in this, what's in front of us, that there are 13% of Area 1, and I think Area 1 is either Kenny or John, that are over the age of 17. I mean, over the age of 70. So it's important that clubs see that. And if we had a more accurate view, they could really see, gosh, 50% of our club is 65 or older. We need to get working or we're going to die out shortly. So if you can help on that any bit that you can help, I appreciate it. I appreciate you attending. Any questions do you have of me?
Just a comment, Billy. You
Yes,
can
Jack.
also go in and look at the individual clubs via that also. You don't have to just look at it from an area standpoint. You can
You
see.
absolutely can. So you would come up here to Club View, and you all have the ability to look at each of the clubs in your area. And I think I've set them up so that you're seeing the correct clubs. If you're not, let me know right away, and I'll get in there and shuffle it around, or maybe Margaret could help me out because I'm going to be out in the clubs starting next week. So here's the club view. So here's Franklin Daybreak, and only because that's my club, but you could see the trends. Now notice that we do have 100% of our dates in, only because I did that. And we've created a culture where everybody just tells us. So there's 0% unreported. And we have female, that's female and male. Now we do have 23%. Those must be the new guys. But notice that we've got 11% of our club 70 years of older. But we also have 3%, under. So that's not real great, but it allows us to look at it. So yes, thank you, Jack, for reminding me that you can do that. And you can also get in there and edit. I believe you can edit each of the clubs. So if worse came to worse and you had somebody that just could not get it done, you could sit down with them, or over the phone you could say, so how many members are in club roles, and you could edit for them. But I'd really like to learn them to learn how to do it. But if you get somebody that is computer illiterate and they don't have any desire to do it, let's get them in one way or another.
Billy,
Yes, sir.
this is Dan.
Yes.
Also, no question, I have a comment as well, and that is that I absolutely love the format of the meeting. We do this monthly, quarterly, whatever meetings you want to have, anytime you like. I love it.
This GoToMeeting?
Yes, this format of meeting, yes.
Okay. Well, I like it because I can show you particular documents, and then you can print them if you choose, but we can talk about it. And I really like when you all can share with each other. And the sound is not real good on a couple, so we'll work on that. But for the most part, I'm hearing you really well. So, and you don't have to leave home, or you can do this in your PJs.
We don't all have to drive to Asheville for it.
Yes.
Amen.
And Jack McCaskill is looking at this as a way to do some training next year. So that's good feedback for him.
Yeah. In fact, let me give a heads up on training. I am going to be the district trainer. I'm Gary Deals, but it actually starts this
Now.
next month. And but one of my big goals is to reduce the culture shock of pre-pets and pets. And so I'm going to start looking at training the PE starting in August and give them a little activity each month to do so that they're better prepared for pets and they can have more of a learning environment rather than feeling like they're just being overwhelmed. So as soon as I get this plan in hard copy, I'll get it out to all of you because you'll have kind of a role to oversee it. But that's going to be one of my basic approaches to training this next year.
And just to show you that education works, my goal last year was to get clubs to understand that they need to choose their officers soon and to get a P string, a string of presidents. And while we haven't gotten everybody to there, Gary Deals now has, I think, all but 3 presidents. This time, a year ago, I was still missing 11. So we are getting through to clubs that, if you want to have a really good club, you have to pull in presidents so that they can begin their training earlier and they can be part of the presidency before them so that it's not culture shock when July 1 comes around and they say, okay, new president, new ideas. They can sort of work together, which is what Gary Dills and Gary Bray and Bill Biddle and I hope to do. So I am going to head to my club's installation, and John Yermak, I'll see you there. If there's nothing else, we'll close the meeting.
Okay.
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 Thanks a lot.
See ya.
Bye.